As someone who comes from a pretty low point to a place where I really respect myself, I look back at that journey and I chose 5 practices, routines, habits, whatever you want to call them, that have done the most for me, that I'm still doing, that I will never stop doing. Some of the things that I'm about to mention truly have the potential to get you out of the deepest, darkest ravines of life that you will probably face at some point just because you are a man who wants to build something. This is the masculine journey, man. This is part of it. But it's goddamn nice to have some of these handles, and especially to know that it has brought some other man out of that ravine, that being me. Number 1, and I am so thankful to have discovered this, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Nothing has done more than the decision to start this martial art. There's something about visiting your own limitations, and you definitely will if you start fighting. To discover where your limits are and to push beyond them. And to do that together with a group of other men is something very unique and very special. The amount of connections and friendships that you build because you break the ice in the most direct way by fighting each other is incredible. I believe that having some kind of connection to your primal nature as a man and to visit that darker side within you is incredible. It will get you out of the deepest places in your life, but not just that, man. Even if you're doing great in life, this will make everything 10 times better. I can go and make a video of 20 minutes about just this, but what I'll say is that you will walk around differently, and people will notice that. Because when you know you are capable of fighting, then you start proving yourself less, man. I used to be a very insecure guy, and when I got into fights a lot. Since I actually became competent at fighting, I never got into a fight anymore. And the altercations that I've been in ended very quickly just because I remained very calm. It just has you walking around differently, more confident, but also more kind in the face of confrontation and adversity. Besides that, martial arts is probably one of the biggest sources of resistance to go out and train 3-4 times a week or whatever you choose. It is a very direct example of resistance, and overcoming that consistently makes you quite unbeatable, unstoppable in other parts of your life. As an extension of this, the gym has a similar effect. I've also been in the gym for most of my life. I would even say it's almost a prerequisite as a man to do resistance training. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or any other martial art will probably have the same effect, totally different. You're visiting that darker part within you and that deep level of resistance together with other men, and that's something very special. I still remember when I started Semen Retention, the kind of realization of like, oh shit, this is powerful. As I observed myself becoming effortlessly able to express myself, something that when I was in that low point was very hard for me. I think it's one of the wisest decisions a man can make in their lives to stop watching porn. And I think it's even wiser to implement some cycle of semen retention just for you to really see what you're able to do, just for you to really see what your potential could be like. Why is that? If you want all the details, watch any of my other videos about semen retention. But in short, when a man controls that muscle, that urge to be fixated on female beauty and to chase it everywhere, when you become in control of that muscle, then all that energy must go elsewhere. People call that sexual transmutation. I like to look at it very objectively. If you keep all the energy that was conventionally spent on distracting yourself with female beauty, well, that must go elsewhere. And it definitely will. Also, this one is a life changer. Number 3 is intermittent fasting. If you get into the habit of doing a 16 to 8 intermittent fasting window where you just stop eating at 9 and you skip breakfast, start eating at 1 the day after, and if you then get a fasted workout in the mornings, you will very easily get shredded as fuck. Getting into the intermittent fasting routine is very easy. It takes about 3-4 days resisting that urge to eat, and you get into the rhythm. Your body adapts like clockwork. It's very easy. The fasted workouts also takes a few days to get used to it. Your body will accept it very quickly. Because your eating pattern becomes more intuitive and it becomes harder to overeat as well in a shorter window of 8 hours, it still requires discipline, but genuinely you get to a very low body fat percentage without really noticing. You kind of stop thinking about it. It's just your new normal and you're just getting your workouts done. If you don't massively overeat within those 8-hour frames, then your body fat percentage will get pretty low pretty easily and pretty naturally. That is one part that obviously improves your life. This affects everything you do, man. And this is just the physicality part of it. To give your body the opportunity to solve all the problems within your body by not eating for 16 hours, it makes you feel good. You don't get sick as often. Your energy levels don't crash so massively anymore, and it just feels good, man. Especially when you get older, I think you will thank yourself for making this decision, because there's some pretty insane research on the long-term effects of intermittent fasting, and it's definitely nice to get shredded without becoming a fitness bro who counts his calories and all that shit. Number 4 is journaling. And I'll keep this one short. I think that if you are on a journey, and I think every man is on a hero's journey, I believe that this journey should be documented. There should be some level of documentation to see how you're growing, how this journey is going, where can we improve, what triggers am I facing. The experiences that you go through hold the keys to self-development and evolution. And I think that you will miss a lot of those if you don't write. Journaling every evening simply about the experience you had today separates one day from the other. It allows you to document your life experience within your hero's journey for you to learn and improve, and it allows you to jot everything down so that nothing is going to bother you the moment you get into bed. So you also sleep better. And besides those hard benefits, there's also a more abstract one, which is if you get into the habit of writing to yourself every evening, you kind of develop a sort of friendship within you, which sounds very sad, but trust me, it's not. It's kind of like whatever happens, whatever you go through, you can dish it out with yourself. You have you, and I don't know, this writing just kind of develops that relationship. And I think that part is pretty nice, especially for us men, as we do struggle with letting other people in our struggle. So again, another life-changing one. And number 5, I will end this video with a very boring one: reading. If you don't learn something in a day, I think that day could have been better. And reading will already check off the study and learning part of that day. There are so many books that completely changed the course of my life, and I often wonder how my life would look like if I didn't read those books. I'm talking about books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Way of the Superior Man, The War of Art, Rich Dad Poor Dad, U Squared. The list goes on and on. Sometimes something magical happens when you read a certain type of book. And it's just a matter of time until that moment happens when you get into the habit of reading every single day. Nice and boring, grandmother advice: read a book, and preferably read every day. Those really changed my life. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.